I received an email from Aaron, and he wanted to know how long does it take to build a sufficient aerobic engine to be both strong and fast. When it comes to developing an aerobic engine, many people underestimate how long it takes to build a sufficient aerobic engine. And most people think about aerobic engine strictly on the cardiac output. And I want to add a second dynamic to aerobic function. If you go back to what Aaron's original question was, how do I build an aerobic engine? Believe it or not, you have to have a base of muscular strength that allows you to go the duration necessary to build an aerobic engine. We can almost get into the chicken or the egg type of an example. So if somebody comes to you and says, look, you've got to be able to do an extended duration of exercise, whatever your sport of choice is. Of course, it's going to take a cardiovascular engine to be able to deliver enough oxygen to finish that workout. What people have a tendency to forget is the muscles have to be strong enough to go the duration. So if you follow me for any period of time, you've heard me talk about the analogy of a set of railroad tracks. If on your piece of paper you draw one horizontal line and one right below it like a set of railroad tracks, I always say that your strength base and your aerobic engine, they need to develop on par with one another, otherwise your train's going to derail. So when Aaron asks a question, it seems very simple. How long does it take for me to build an aerobic engine? The answer to that metabolically is anywhere between 12 weeks, let's say 3 months. I prefer to go a little bit longer, even up to 6 months. Now, depending on where you're at in the season as an athlete, you may not have the luxury of 6 months. I understand that. That's why I enjoy working with athletes for multiple years, because once you know what your definitive season is going to look like, you can reverse engineer your success. When we're looking at having a big enough aerobic engine, it has to be built systematically. If you look at the idea that on a weekly basis you need to be working sport-specific strength and flexibility, you need to be working the consistency of aerobic enhancement, and another dynamic you have to bring into the equation is knowing exactly where that glass ceiling is to where you're constantly in an aerobic mode. This is another mistake that people make. They think the only way to go fast is to train fast. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. When you're looking at building a motor to go fast, it has to be built on a foundation of power. For those of you that are in the car world, a V8 is going to be much faster than a V4. Doesn't mean that you can't push the V4, but I think you would concur it takes the V4 a lot more work to match the power output of an 8-cylinder engine. Your strength base has to be looked at it the same way. How big is your piston? That's your strength base. The ability to deliver oxygen and nutrients to that working muscle group is going to be predicated off aerobic capacity. So when you come back to Aaron's original question, how long does it take to build an aerobic engine? I would say conservatively 3 months, ideally 6 months. If you want to fast forward into your preseason, pre-competitive, ultimately competitive mode, you want to be able to have that top end speed that's sustainable. Understand the importance of both strength and flexibility. I always put those two together, complemented and supplemented with aerobic capacity. If you're asked to go out and do a 90-minute bike ride, but your muscles get tired, that's going to have more of a negative impact on your aerobic capacity than actually putting in the 90 minutes. You go, why would that happen? Well, because when you're out there trying to build physical strength, there also comes a component known as physical confidence. If you're barely able to get that 90-minute workout in, that can hurt you psychologically as much as anything else. So I don't want to make this video convoluted at all. The original question was, how long does it take to build an aerobic engine? 3 to 6 months. What do you need to be able to fulfill the duration necessary? Consistency and a base of strength. Now you put those two together, like we said, you put a governor on the top number, you put those together and you'll get further, i.e. an enhanced aerobic capacity in a shorter period of time. If you keep barely able to finish an aerobic exercise of 60, 70, 80 minutes, then your confidence is going to be jeopardized, not to mention your biomechanics is going to suffer and the risk of injury goes up. If you've stuck with me this far in the video, I want to say thank you. As always in these videos, there's got to be more context than just answering than just answering a question, how long does it take to build an aerobic engine? Because what I've seen happen over the last 38 years is that people will take a face value comment and then the supporting components aren't in place. And as a result, they get frustrated and or hurt. I hope this video has helped. I love the fact that you guys are sending in questions. The number of questions that are coming in on a weekly basis continues to escalate, and I want to thank you for that. These videos are here to try to break up the plethora of misinformation that's floating around on the internet. We'll be putting up a new video every day here on YouTube, so please make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have a question you'd like me to try to break down, please do me a favor and send me an email, contact@coachrob.com. I promise I'll convert it into a video. It may take a while, but I promise we'll get it here on YouTube. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.